Hi, welcome to week 5 of NUR1000. This week we'll be talking about ways to avoid procrastination and stay motivated, and we'll also get a basic overview of the different types of questions on the NCLEX. So if you deal with procrastination, you're not alone. Most people have issues with that. You might find yourself saying, I don't feel like doing that. I'll have time later in the week to get to it. A big one of mine is after the day I had today, I'm going to skip whatever it is. For most students, it's studying. So you feel like you already put in enough time with the 3-hour lecture, or maybe you had a big exam you got through and you don't want to put additional time into studying. I like this little diagram though that shows the things I should do, things I like to do, and the things when I do and I'm procrastinating. So just a reminder that when we're back burnering our studying and the things we need to do, we're not sticking to our plans, the likelihood of us being successful goes down and down and down. So we want to try and stick to our study plans and stay on top of things, not procrastinate in order to ensure our success. So you want to make sure that you're doing it. It likely is studying for you, doing it right and doing it right now. So the big thing, stick to that study plan as much as possible. Yes, be flexible with it, tweak it, figure out what works for you. But give yourself a little extra study time incorporated into your schedule in case you need it, in case you get ill, you end up picking up extra hours at work, whatever it may be. All right, some tips for avoiding procrastination. The first one is prioritizing. So this is prioritizing things in your life and prioritizing your studying. So when it comes to prioritizing your life, it's figuring out where is studying or school or becoming an RN and its importance to the other things that you have going on in your life. So you may have to make dinner for the kids in one day. You might have to go to the dentist. You might want to watch your favorite show and you need to study 2 hours for an exam that's coming up. So in terms of prioritization, I think you probably know where I'm going. The watching your favorite show would be a lower priority for the day. And when you look at things and you're ranking things in terms of priorities for yourself, focusing on family, friends, the self-care, focusing on your schoolwork and having those as priorities is going to help you be more successful. When we start doing the fun things, um, and spending a lot of time, because I guess self-care you could incorporate a show here and there, but when they start taking up time that you would be spending with other important things like studying or family, then it's going to become problematic for you. Delegation's huge. Being able to ask for help while you're in nursing school is big. So if you're a mom and you have kids and dinners and cleaning and laundry, all that good stuff, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it might be time, if you have a partner, to sit down and ask the partner, like, what can you do to help me out here? Because I'm struggling. Maybe you got family that would be able to help out. Maybe you're only using a babysitter when you're in class. And maybe it's something where you want to look and see if a family or a babysitter would be able to pick up a little bit more, a couple more hours in order for you to either be able to effectively study without the distractions of the kiddos around, or getting some more housework done, prepping, grocery shopping, whatever it may be that you need to get done. So be sure to ask for help when you need it and see if you can get some of your, have to do things off your plate by asking other people to help you out. Planning's huge. I'm hoping that your study calendar is working out for you. If you're having any issues with it or anything of that sort, just reach out to me and we can look it over together and see what you got going on. Fourth here listed is to keep goals. So study goals, grades, a lot of people have, especially after your first exam, maybe you have a goal of what grade you want to get on the next exam. It could be 5 points higher, things of that sort. But keeping goals, smart goals, and working to them is a good way to stay on task. Then lastly, be sure to reward yourself. So I can remember one student who would go out and take her kids to get ice cream if she got what she considered to be a good exam grade. And that was also a reward for the kids for being tolerant of mom studying when she was. So just some tips for helping to avoid procrastination. Try them out. Let me know what you think. One of my favorite procrastination techniques, or techniques to prevent procrastination, I guess, is the Pomodoro technique. And this will be included as one of your recordings. So it'll be the next recording you watch. Just a little less than 5-minute video about the Pomodoro technique. And basically, it's about setting a timer and using time to get started and giving yourself scheduled breaks. With procrastinating, sometimes getting started is half the battle. And when you have a big amount of content that you need to look at, getting started can feel overwhelming at times. So the Pomodoro technique has you break down your studying into chunks of time, basically. And so it's easier to start studying when you know, like, I'm going to look at this topic for 25 minutes versus I have topics X, Y, and Z, and I'm feeling overwhelmed. So it's just a way to break down study time. I've had one student who really liked it. Well, she had children, so she said the kids were always bothering her when she was trying to study. So she let them know that she was using this technique. I don't know what she called it, but basically, mom's studying for X amount of time, and then I'm going to have 5, 10, 15, whatever she decided, minutes to answer any questions you have, get you a snack, whatever it may be. And she said it was really effective in eliminating some of the interruptions that she was having from her kids while she was studying. Another tip for procrastination is don't save the challenging or difficult or boring content for last. So sometimes we like to back burner the stuff that we don't like, and that ends up burning us. So make sure that you're incorporating even the topics that aren't your favorite throughout the week. A good way to help you get started during the next study session is to end with a topic that you're really engaged in and you're understanding well. So if you get it and it's making sense and you think I just want to plow through it and finish up for the day, sometimes that's a good stopping point, because when you resume, you're starting with a topic that makes sense and you understand. It's sort of easier to get started. Tips for staying motivated. One way is to remember to focus on the why. So why are you going to nursing school? Why do you want to become an RN? So during those difficult times, you don't get the test score you wanted, you don't feel like studying, to going back to your why, what's driving you to put yourself through nursing school, is important and can help keep you motivated. You want to set SMART goals, so specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based, and then track your progress with those goals. Surround yourself by positive people. Break down goals into manageable tasks. So a lot of planning, right, with time-specific goals and planning them out. Staying organized. If you're having problems with organization, you feel like you have a folder with just papers flying out of it, something you probably want to rein in the near future. Avoid procrastination. Stop multitasking. That'll be part of your Pomodoro technique video that you'll watch this week. And then visualize yourself succeeding. So remember, part of the why is thinking about where it is that you want to be and start visualizing yourself achieving those goals. All right, now we're going to go through a quick rundown of some of the different item types that you could see on the next generation NCLEX. And then in the upcoming weeks, we'll delve into 2 or 3 of them each week and talk about them a little bit more in depth. So multiple choice, nothing new to you. Everyone knows multiple choice. You get a point if you get it right, no points if you get it incorrect. With the multiple choice questions, read the question, reword it, simplify the question, think about what the answer might be, review each answer item, eliminate the ones you feel pretty confident are not correct. Usually most students will pretty quickly get it down to possibly 2 answers, and then go back and work through it. Use your test taking strategies to try and figure out that correct answer. My recommendation would be to read the question, answer the question, and move forward. So sometimes you get students that do a lot. I got 15 minutes at the end of the test period, the test taking time, and I'm going to go back and read over things and start changing things. You start overthinking and talking yourself out of the right answer, basically. So I would encourage you to read it, pick an answer, and move forward. And the NCLEX, of course, will be like that. Like, you won't be able to go back and change answers. Another item type on the NCLEX is the fill in the blank, most commonly used for math with NCLEX. So again, point if you get it right, no points if you get it wrong. There's math on the majority of your nursing exams as well as the NCLEX. Big thing is to make sure it's labeled correctly on paper pencil exams to make sure that you get credit for it. Double check the instructions. Are there rounding instructions you need to be following? Or are you supposed to express it to the 10th or to as a whole number? For answers to be correct, make sure you're following any math rules. We're using dimensional analysis, which sort of helps with problems with rounding because you don't round it all until the end. But zeros, hopefully you've talked about that. Trailing zeros, so some things. Like let's say the answer for a math question is half a tab. You're going to give your patient half a tab. You wouldn't want to do like the 1-2 half. You always want to write in decimals to help prevent errors. So for half a tab, you'd write it as 0.5. Has to have that 0 in front. Now, let's say your answer was 5 tabs. For 5 tabs, you would just write 5. We don't use trailing zeros, so you would never write 5.0 because that could lead to errors. And then always go back with math and check to see if the answer makes sense. Because sometimes just by moving a decimal on accident or not having things set up correctly, you can come up with answers that just really don't even make any sense. So let's say if the correct answer is to give 1 tab and you have decimals off somewhere and it ends up you saying that you're going to give 100 tabs. Like when you look back at it, it sort of makes sense, like, something's off here. So I always recommend with math, going back, does it make sense? Is it labeled correctly? For select all that applies on the NCLEX, the NCLEX will use partial grading. So you get a point if you put a correct answer. You would lose a point if you put an incorrect answer or fail to put a correct answer. So let's say if you have a test question and the correct answers are A, B, C, that's worth 3 points for a select all that applies. But let's say you put A and B, but didn't put C, and you did put D. So because you put A and B, you'd get 2 of the 3 points. You didn't put C, so you don't get that point. You put D, an incorrect answer, so you would lose a point for that, and you'd end up with 1 out of the potential 3 points for that question. That's how the NCLEX grades select all that applies. You might have instructors do it a little differently, so you'll have to check with each nursing instructor to see how they're grading their select all that applies. Some might be doing an all or none type of grading, but the NCLEX sort of does it as a partial credit. So what that basically does is make it graded very similar to a multiple choice question. So when you read a select all that apply, don't get overwhelmed because it's a select all that apply. If it has 5 answers options, it's sort of like, 5 different multiple choice questions, all about the same topic. So read the question, simplify it, reword it, and then look at each answer option alone by itself and decide yes or no. Is this true or false for this question? Select it, don't select it, and move on to the next. The last one we're going to talk about today is the select N, and this is a type of selection question that tells you exactly how many answer options they want you to pick. So it'll be like select your top 3 concerns. So there's 3 answer options. That's graded a point for each correct answer. So if you pick the correct 3, you'd get 3 points. If you put 2 correct answers and an incorrect, you'd get 2 points.